Hey, what's up, guys? It's Rick with the Digital Divide, and today we're going to do a little bit of thrifting. I love going to flea markets and Goodwills and retro vintage kind of places, and I'm always looking for old comic books, retro video games, vintage toys, and just interesting old tech, that sort of thing. So today we're going to start off at the Antique Crossroads. This is right down the street from where I live. First thing I see is this old crusty Coca-Cola thing. It's rusted like hell, and they're asking for $650, which I think is kind of insane for the condition it's in. Further in, we find these two kind of wooden creepy things. This very, very expensive oil painting. They are asking $6,500. Apparently this was from the 1800s. It does have a really nice frame. I saw these eggs from the 1800s and 1900s. They span a period of time, but they're really intricate looking. They look quite expensive, and the price tag reflects that. There's an article here where they talk about similar eggs that sold for over $17,000. That was kind of cool. You don't really see that too often. Some old wartime looking stuff. This is cool. It's like a wooden Mickey Mouse something. I don't know what it is, but it looks cool. Moving on, there's a deer head, because of course there is. There always is. There's this gigantic root beer keg. They're asking $6.95, which seems like a fair price. And then I found this Pepsi What's Your Weight scale. I guess this was probably found at like carnivals or fairs, and you'd put in a quarter, and if you guessed your weight right, or if the machine did, you got something. I don't know. I saw this Rocketeer poster that looked awesome and was in great shape. I watched the movie as a kid, but I don't like it enough to buy that. Moving on, I found some old metal horse carriage toys here, some Pez dispensers. This was kind of cool. It's called a check protector. I tried to figure out how it worked, but none of the dials here that adjust the face stamps did anything. The main lever worked, so I don't really know what this does, but it was kind of cool. We don't really see stuff like this too often. Moving on, we found some Barbie dolls. These are all over the place. There was also some Elizabeth Taylor dolls as well. And then I found some comic books. Bingo, this is what I'm always looking for. So I started looking through these, and it looked like it was mostly independent stuff and in really bad condition. So nothing here that I ended up picking up. Moving on, I found this really intricate looking clock. It looks like it has like a gold faceplate. That was kind of cool looking. And then I found a bunch more comics, and right off the bat, I saw a Star Wars #1. He was asking $300, which is a bit much for that. But he did have some interesting Neil Adam covers here. So I ended up getting the key and sorting through the majority of these. He had some really cool Hulk books and some cool 20 centers, but nothing crazy. Some Tales to Astonish down here. Moving on, we find some sports memorabilia, specifically a bunch of signed baseballs. Here's one. He says it's from Mickey Mantle, but he's only asking $595. Somehow I doubt that is authentic. There's this old parking sign that is very rusted. And then I found more comics, some really cool Red Sonja covers. I found a bunch of slabs here, but literally all of these are just Infinity Gauntlet 90s comics that aren't worth anywhere near what he's asking for. And then he had some old war-themed comics down at the bottom here, and I did end up sifting through a few of those. At the next booth, we found some carved and hand-painted figures here. Over here, I found some 40s and 50s pinup artwork and some comic books. This Creepshow book by Stephen King was interesting. Strange Tales. This is the first interaction between the Human Torch and Iceman. I ended up picking that up a separate day, actually. These are some porcelain creepy ass dolls that people always have for some reason, and some really cool older Batman cards. These were individually priced, and the artwork on this was really, really cool. But I don't really know a lot about these cards specifically. I don't know if they're worth what they're asking for, but the artwork looked really, really cool. Here's some Penguin, Joker. I mean, on the other side, there was some horror stuff and some belt buckles. On the next booth, there was this gigantic wooden knife that somebody made. I don't know why, but it's there if you're into that. It's Pirates of the Caribbean, Star Wars, a couple of cool figures down here. There's a Venom over here. And this is more modern busts that you can find at your local comic book shops. There's Darth Vader without his helmet and some questionable quality Indiana Jones stuff. And then a Han Solo down there. Moving on, there's the 4-string and some cowboy-themed memorabilia above that. Nothing too tempting over here. This is some glassware and trinkets, some Coca-Cola stuff over here, and then some Garfield things. That was kind of cool. They look to be original. All right, so after Garfield, I decided to walk over literally right next door. There's another antique store called Beaver Creek Antiques. And this is, as I said, you could throw a rock and hit this place. It's right next door. As soon as I walked in, I found some cool vinyls, including this really neat looking Superman vinyl. I was really tempted to buy it. There's no actual music on it. They're just stories that like kids would listen to before they went to bed, I guess. This was really tempting. Did not end up getting it though. Next to that, there were a bunch of in-box cards from the 90s. This Terminator 2 set was really tempting just because there might be some holographic cards in there. More Coca-Cola stuff. Looks like there's some Popeye's artwork over here. I don't know if these are like lithographs or what have you. This was really cool. The skull-themed art. It looks like something like Salvador Dali would make. That was kind of neat. Some random military memorabilia over here from the 50s. And then a Santa Claus. Over here, I found this really cool Mrs. Pac-Man sit-down cabinet, and the chairs were themed with the cabinet to be ghosts. And you would sit down and you can play 2 players. I guess it's like a coffee table kind of thing where you can hang out and play games together. There's like a quarter slot in here as well. But again, the seats, like there's Pac-Man on the seat. This is just so cool to see, but a little bit overpriced. There was a cool Ghostbusters Ecto car up here, and then a Pac-Man board game of sorts. There's this very intricate clock, ornate looking wood. That was already sold. And then I found a bunch of like horror-themed figures of sorts. Frankenstein, King Kong, they had the Wolfman, all kinds of stuff over here. Next to that, there were some more horror-themed little chess pieces. And then below that, there was a really cool Bronze Age Batman and Robin kind of statue-looking thing that was cool. And then these older vintage ones. Nothing too special. And that was pretty much it for that place. So let's take a look at my haul. I didn't get a whole lot. This is pretty much it. I got a copy of Battle Chess for the 8-bit Nintendo. This is what the Nintendo version looks like. I've actually never played that version. The one I'm familiar with is the one on the right here, which is the Amiga version. It is much more intricate. That was a much more capable system. And this is just one of the best chess games ever made, in my opinion. So I picked that up, and then I also got a Craven figure here in the box from a more recent Spider-Man set. This goes online for like $25. I got it for $5. And then I picked up a trio of comics. This one here is the first appearance of Killer Croc, and a really cool cover. And the next book I picked up is the new Teen Titans #2, which is the first appearance of Deathstroke. He's a really cool looking Batman villain. Deadpool got a lot of inspiration from that design. The next book I picked up is X-Men Annual #14, which is the first appearance of Gambit. And I got really good deals on all of that. I think I got like 25% off. So that's going to do it for me today, guys. As always, thank you for watching.